we leave the safe embrace of Earth's gravity, strange and weird things start to happen. Astronauts report suffering from vision difficulties to losing up to 1% of their bone density per month that they're in space. A big reason for a lot of these losses is something called microgravity, which if we break up those words, micro and gravity, is just any sort of environment that's less than the gravity that we're used to here on Earth. Two main physiological effects tend to happen with microgravity. Number one, if you ever see a video of astronauts, they look like they're having the time of their lives up in space. They're floating around, but they're not using their legs. And with a lot of the time with our body, if you don't use it, you tend to lose it. This leads to muscle atrophy. When you don't use your legs, this tends to affect your entire body in general. The second effect is due to something called fluid shifts. So because of that lack of downward force keeping our fluids where they should be, they kind of tend to float up and get into places where they can cause a lot of trouble. We kind of experience a similar effect of fluid shifts on Earth. If you ever get up after laying down for a long time, you might feel that blood rush. That's a small version of fluid shifts. So you can imagine what it might be like to be in a microgravity for 6 months to up to years at a time. Therefore, this leads to the question, if we're in this age of space exploration, then we must be in the age of space medicine innovation. My thesis, Your Brain on Space, examining the effects of microgravity on the cerebellum, aimed to examine the effects of microgravity on the cerebellum, the part of your brain that is responsible for motor control and muscle coordination, two issues that astronauts tend to experience a lot of difficulty with in space. I found a group of rats that were held in hind limb suspension. So essentially their hind limbs were suspended above the rest of their body to try and mimic the amount of disuse, muscle atrophy, and fluid shifts that astronauts experience in space. I analyzed their brains looking for any signs of inflammation, which is our body's way of saying, hey, something's not right here. I looked specifically for these beautiful star-like cells called astrocytes, which tend to activate when there's anything wrong. I found that there was no statistically significant difference in the amount of astrocytes between the brains of rats that were in the simulated microgravity and the rats that were just allowed to roam around free. But the thing that was very interesting is I found evidence that there are potential structural differences between the brains of these rats. Now you might be thinking, okay, wow, this is great for those people who are choosing to leave the safe embrace of Earth's gravity. But the very interesting thing about space medicine and translational medicine in general are that the applications are truly endless. A lot of the medicines that are being used to treat the loss of bone density in space are now being used to treat people suffering from osteoporosis on Earth. Therefore, my thesis and this work is the first step towards helping those suffering from muscle coordination and balance issues both on and off our planet. Thank you.